Hello, I'm Toycat, and with Forever Worlds trending on YouTube right now, I figured I would show you my 4,563 day old world. That's real life days, by the way. It's something that I find to be so satisfying and gratifying. It's great in truly almost every way, but despite that, I want to have an honest conversation today about exactly what it is that is hard about having the same world after all this time. I've gone through so much with this Let's Play world, it's been with me through thick and thin, but still, despite that, I do play a lot of Minecraft that's not in this world, and today I want to talk about why that is, and indeed what the downsides of having a world for this long are, and why you shouldn't have a forever world necessarily. Asterisks on that one, I think it's really great still, but I also think that having a forever world means you fundamentally cannot have access to any fun new seeds that you find in Minecraft. Indeed, it's not just new seeds you might see if you're browsing, say, this channel's Seed Sundays, or a subreddit, or if your friend just recommends you a Minecraft seed, there's nothing you can do with it, but it also means that if you want to find new terrain, you have to travel for hundreds or thousands of blocks. If you want to find any new terrain at all, you don't just hit create new world and see what Minecraft creates for you. Instead, you have to travel very, very far, and so if you want to have custom terrain in an old world, you basically have to create it yourself. You can see I've done this with my valley filled with mushrooms, and that's definitely just a mushroom there. You can also see with my my mini mushrooms I've got over here, but even when it comes to stuff like mountains, I'm capped at the size that mountains were back in 2012 console edition, and so if I want to make any more, I literally have to build them myself, which sounds crazy, but it is the requirement. The second downside, I would say, of having a forever world is that of performance. There is no way around this one. Having an older world is eventually going to cause you performance issues, and this is something that is particularly, important right now because vibrant visuals is coming to Minecraft, and with it, the tax on your performance requirements is going up. In effect, if you were able to play with 8 chunks of render distance before, after playing on a long-term survival world, eventually, as you remove more blocks and fill in more entities, in this case, I've got 225 entities sitting on a giant wall of barrels. You might have noticed my game stutter as it loaded in, and this is the sort of thing that just sits in my world, whether I'm enjoying it or not, but this also adds to the world size, meaning that as you get a world that lasts longer, it not just takes more performance, therefore meaning that as Minecraft itself becomes more demanding, you eventually will have to upgrade your device, maybe even sooner than you'd like to, or you have to downgrade your settings sooner than you'd like to either. This is something I did a test for vibrant visuals, but the frame rates I was getting in this Let's Play world versus on a brand new one was so stark that it made me realize that for a large number of people, that might be an important factor. The same is also true for world size. I downloaded a copy of my Let's Play world onto the PlayStation 5, and it took up a fifth of what Minecraft is allowed to use there. Did you know you've got a max storage size on PlayStation? I assumed that was like a last-gen 4J Studios thing, but even Bedrock to this day maxes out how much storage you can use, and so eventually you're going to come close to claiming all of that if you have a long-term world like this. Obviously, we're talking about so much exploration, so much mining, but the inevitability is that in Minecraft, you're always going to do both of these things, right? And so I think that this is a very solid argument that you should think about before committing to a world for too long, or at least before committing to a world without committing to either one day upgrading your hardware. For phones, this is a given. For consoles, it's a eventual expectation. But for PCs, a lot of people don't realize that, yeah, your PC or laptop that you have right now is not going to be here forever. So speaking of things that won't be here forever, let's talk about variety next. This is something that's really important to me. I love doing goofy things in Minecraft, and I love weird edge case scenarios, and so a great example of this would probably be the fact that I used Frostwalker boots for way longer than anyone else, and when mending came out, I resisted using it specifically because I felt like it'd be more fun to repair my tools. It wasn't. I've broken so many pickaxes, and I'm starting to see the light now that, like, okay, maybe this is less fun actually to not be able to do a project because you don't have the tools. But similarly, I also love the idea of playing around with new tools, which is why I have the largest collection of weird enchanted ones. If you've never seen my collection of enchanted tools, it's great. But also this means that I love playing around with edge case stuff, and what that means is in a brand new world, if I find a tool in a chest and it has sharpness 2, unbreaking 3, and everything else is perfect but really low on sharpness, or even Bane of Arthropods, I might think to use it. Whereas in a long-term survival world, why are you going to do that? Similarly, there are all sorts of silly things that you would like to do, but in a long-term survival world might seem silly. I love the idea of enchanting a sword to the max level. Look at this, I've got a looting 3, sharpness 4 wooden sword, and the reason that I've loved this idea so much is because, you know, for a while now, I've thought the idea that's really interesting and kind of like drives home the point that enchantments are more important than tool choice is this wooden sword does more damage than this diamond sword. If you don't believe me, I mean, it's actually very hard to show you anything around here, but like this sheep would take me 1 critical hit with this sword, but it would take me 2 of a well, there goes my argument. I think cows are the ones that have 10 hearts, so if I show you right here, I've got some cows, probably slightly too many. As you can see, if I don't jump hit, oh, I've got a strength beacon, so they are going to die in 1 hit. Anyway, the point is, these swords are the same strength, but they're actually not. This one has 7, this one has 9, and I love this idea that it's not. You know, I think this is something that should go in my little modern art museum right here. It's not necessarily the material that matters, it's the enchantments you put on it that matter far more. And so what I figure I should do is put up a little thing in my cursed museum here for my very, very cursed sword that I've just crafted. Speaking of this museum right here, by the way, one of the other reasons I think a lot of people don't like the idea of having a long-term survival world is, and one of the reasons that I think is a real downside, is basically the boring factor. This sounds silly, and for so long I fought against this, saying, look, if you make a long-term survival world boring to yourself, that's a you problem. And yeah, I still agree, it is a you problem if you make it boring, but it is one that loads of people run into, so it's not one that we can just dismiss out of hand. Actually, you know what? Do you think we should put mending on this wooden sword? I think we should. I think, what are we doing with a wooden sword of sharpness 4, but that doesn't have mending on? You know, what if I need to use this frequently, as is very common? Now I can do that without fearing for its life. Anyway, I want to talk about the boringness of a world, because this is the inevitability of how Minecraft almost markets itself to you directly, but especially how many big players see the game. I think having a world where you stay true to the point of what you want to do in Minecraft is very, very hard, because you might think to yourself, as I did, yeah, why don't you build a big farm for something you want? I built farms all across this world. How often I use them is, of course, something different, but building farms for what you want seems like a really great idea, but then you realize, okay, if I now never need gunpowder again, because, fun fact, the reason I can be so nilly-willy with fireworks is because I have a creeper farm that I built, but once you have a creeper farm, you never have to worry about killing ghasts, you know, just for the fun of getting gunpowder, or killing creepers again. Instead, you do those things because you want to, which is great on one level, but the lack of necessity will make your gameplay more... Wow, I picked up a lot of gunpowder. Will make your game a lot less interesting. Now, I would argue there's a lot of farms that, especially if you're playing the Bedrock version, on Java, they make it a key priority that no existing farm should ever break, whereas on Bedrock, I can't tell you how many farms I have that don't work anymore, which is a really, really cool way to force you to go back out there and either rebuild a farm or become the sort of person who kills creepers with your sword. In fact, should we go over here and do that next? I think we totally should. I want to put this bad boy to the test. And so let's show you what I can do with my looting-free wooden sword, because now I have to use this looting-free, well, I mean, I could use my Neverite sword too, but now I have to use this sword if I want to get something done. So let's show you, if I use this creeper right here as my example, just 2 critical hits, or 1 critical hit and 1 not, will get me free gunpowder. That's actually more fun, whether you use a wooden sword or not. That is actually a more fun process than choosing not to use it. Being able to create new goals for yourself and then go after them is actually a great deal of fun. Okay, let's now see. I think that 2 diamond hit criticals is also enough, but I think 2 not diamond hit criticals might not be. So let's now try that again, because I think you get 1 extra damage to what you should get here, so maybe 2 regular hits will kill a creeper too. It's very risky to test that, obviously. But you know what, let's find out right now. Let's take a risk in this world in a way that you don't need to after you get too deep into it. My final point about how you might make your world more boring more or less relies on the fact that as... if you think about something interesting, right? People who are wildly wealthy in the real world, you might notice, or you might not have noticed, but if you ever look into it, they'll still go out to, like, fancy restaurants from time to time. And that's weird, because you could have a private chef make exactly what you want, but they're going out into the world and they're enjoying the food that is made by someone else, or the same with enjoying an art gallery, right? Or anything like that. There are many public amenities and many things that people choose to do that they don't actually need to, and it's because we kind of like this idea. So this is this is probably torture for the creeper. I need to use them eventually to get some skeleton skulls. So for now, my quest for the wither has been unsuccessful. Oh no, here we go. So I'm going to try 2 regular hits, and if he explodes, he explodes. Okay, there we go. That is proof that this sword is better than this sword, because this would take me 3 hits to kill any creeper if I didn't get a critical. And so now I've proven a point from halfway back in the video, but I can talk about my final point that I want to kind of talk about today, and it's the biggest reason that I think that a long-term world is both desirable and not. And it kind of comes down to what you mean when we say the word desire. This is a crazy point to make, I know, but hear me out here for a second. I think that we have 2 categories of actual wants in the world, wants and desires. And if you don't mind me getting just a little bit philosophical, in this world we have a real problem that we want lots of things, and the things we want kind of change from moment to moment, but then we have kind of deeper desires. We have things that we want on a much longer time span, and that stems from what our reason in our brain is actually telling us. And so I think that making a new Minecraft world is the perfect way to satisfy your wants. I think that right now, the easiest way to get that quick hit of Minecraft, you know, if you're on that 2-week Minecraft cycle that everyone's always talking about, the easiest way to get that quick hit would be to load up a brand new world. You're going to go from having nothing to having wooden swords to having stone swords, and then you'll find iron within literally 5 minutes, and then, you know, 10 minutes after that, you're going to be going to the Nether if you want to, or building your first house if that's what you want to, or building your first sugarcane farm, which is obviously what you actually want to do. You can decide where you're going and how your world is progressing. And so if you have an idea like I do, forever I've had this, I really want to make a pharmacy in my Minecraft world, internet, and I also want to make an abusement park to go with. I've got these silly big ideas, but actually it's a little bit harder for me. You know, for most people, you start a brand new world, you just start building it and you go. Whereas there's almost an element of this world that requires planning. My wants are slightly harder to fulfill because they are met with they are constrained by my longer term desires. Having a world that I've played for this long brings me this sense of real pride and real long term enjoyment, this feeling that genuinely makes Minecraft worth loading into every single day, and that every time I pop on the world I'm like, oh, what should I get up to now? I would like to do this, I'd also like to do that, I'd like to see what's going on down here, I don't know why I built this. Oh, I do know why I built it, it's my big slice across the world. Having a big world filled with things that I want to do, and filled with the space to allow me to work on even more, is one of the things that makes me really, really love Minecraft. Maybe the thing that makes me love Minecraft. I'm gonna go back and say that is actually the biggest thing, because ultimately I think that Minecraft is the game where you get to express yourself, your creativity, your whatever else you'd like to, and the way that you get that done ultimately is through this, and your world is a reflection of yourself in a way that it just isn't when you play for 2 weeks. And so it's harder to manage, it has all sorts of downsides. You have to, instead of being able to find terrain you want, you have to make the terrain you want. This isn't a natural savanna biome. This isn't a natural, if you'll believe it, ravine going through my world perfectly. But I built all of these things, and I'll continue to build all these things, because slowly I'm making a manifestation of the things that I want to see in a world. And it's and even though those things are changing, and over 4,600 days you would expect them to, which, by the way, 4,600 real-world days, 6,900 Minecraft days, that means on average for every real-world day, I only play about a day and a half of Minecraft, which means somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes. You don't need to have a long-term survival world be the thing that you use all of your time towards. It doesn't have to be a 9-to-5 job. In fact, I think, factually speaking, even if Minecraft is your job, unless being literally a Minecraft long-term world survival streamer is your job, unless that is, you can't spend 40 hours a week on a Minecraft world. Maybe the game isn't even built for that, you could argue. But for a world that you can hop into and check up on and work and improving, I love Minecraft and I like this world a lot, and that is why I play on my long-term survival world. But it is, like I mentioned, the reason in your brain that enjoys building something like this is slightly more long-term gratification, and ultimately that's not what everyone is seeking when they play video games. Maybe you have plenty of long-term gratification in your life, and all you want to do is hop into a Minecraft world, play that gameplay loop you know is awesome, and if that's you, then don't hop into a long-term survival world. But if you want to work on increasingly strange projects, if you heard the idea Pharmacy and thought, ooh, I want to see how that goes, and you like having similar ideas, or even just executing on the ones that you've seen elsewhere, then feel free to start up a long-term survival world. It's something I'd recommend, just not for everyone. And hopefully this video explained to you why. This was very much like an old school format for a Let's Play, huh? Did you enjoy it? Maybe you did. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Rate the video 5 stars. There we go. True old school now. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay? Bye.